Yeah, you're all welcome to First Influencers TV, where we talk about the latest in the world of sports, where we bring you the latest interview with sports personalities. My name is Jide, and I welcome you once again. Today, we are privileged to have with us today a fine gentleman by the name of Bimbo Okubena. He's one of the big players in the tennis world in Nigeria. So he'll be taking us through the victory of Rafael Nadal and give us a detailed background on what's happened, how he won, and he'll be telling us more about the Nigerian place in the place of tennis. So I'll kindly ask him to introduce himself.
Good afternoon. My name is Bimbo Okubena, and it's a pleasure to be on this program to share the little I know or the vast information I know concerning tennis in the world, Nigeria, and everywhere else. Thank you very much today.
You're welcome once again. So let's just dive into it. How long have you been playing tennis for?
Based on I know that you're going to ask this question, I tried to calculate it back. I started playing tennis when I left university. So that was very late. I played basketball in university for Ife. When I was in Ife, I barely made number 10 in Ife basketball. So when I left and there was no more basketball, I took up tennis because that was the advent of cable TV in Nigeria.
Okay.
And I was exposed to watching Davis Cup. Okay. And this was tennis. Meanwhile, I knew when my sister was in UI that she used to say she plays tennis. So I'll go to her school, see her. I was never interested until I watched it on cable TV, saw the Davis Cup. And I can actually remember it was Jim Courier playing. And I just thought, wow, this is good. Maybe if I can start this. So I'm a member of country club. I've been going to country club since I was practically born and never used to go to the tennis section in country club. So I took it upon myself, went there, saw that they had 6 courts, saw what they were playing. And I said, I want to learn how to play this game. So I walked up to one of the ball boys, told him my ambitions. He said, you need to get trainers, you need to get a racket. And I started playing. So it's 30 years now since I've been playing tennis.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a long time. For those of us that don't know what Ife is, what it means that University of Ife is in Osun State or your state in Nigeria. Osun State in Nigeria. Nigeria in West Africa. That is where he started playing lawn tennis after he graduated. So for some of our viewers that might be seeing or watching this video later on, they'll be like, what is Ife? So that's what
Ife, it's Obafemi Awolowo University.
Obafemi Awolowo University. So then tell us the club you represent, when you started playing, the club that you said you went to, what club is that? What's the name of the club and what do they do there?
Okay, the club is a family club in Lagos called Lagos Country Club, and that's where I started playing tennis at ripe old age of like 23. And later on, after playing there for long, I joined the Ikoyi Club, which is on the island in Lagos, also in Lagos, where they've got 9 courts. Lagos Country Club has got 6 courts, but it is predominantly a clay court club.
Okay.
Yeah, and Ikoyi Club is predominantly hard court. So Lagos Country Club is the only club in Lagos that's got the clay courts. Okay. So that's the unique difference of Lagos Country Club.
Okay. So we'll be kind enough to mention some of the players you've been privileged to play with whilst you are playing.
In Nigeria or where?
Yes, in Nigeria, just generally some of the players you played with.
About 5 years ago, I was privileged to play Unduka Udizo. That was the main Nigerian player who represented Nigeria and the highest ranked Nigerian who was It was ranked, I think, 71 in the world when he played Wimbledon back in the 80s. And he came back from Houston. I think he was on a visit. He came to Ikoyi Club. So I was privileged to shake his hand. Not only that, play on the center court of Ikoyi Club with him.
Oh
And
my God, that's
it was a dream come true. It was absolutely so.
I can imagine.
I've stayed in touch with him till now in the
good.
US. So he lives in the US. So whenever I'm in the US, I call him, we speak, we talk. But I've not been able to like do the same thing over in the US. But I definitely know it's going to happen again soon this year.
Okay. Oh, that's really good. And what competition have you featured in both in Nigeria and abroad, if you've been? So what can you?
So very quickly, when I started playing, I learned under his name is Wole. Wole used to be a ball boy in Ikoyi, in country club, and he was a junior champion then. Not even a senior champion, the junior champion. So he was one who took it upon himself to teach me. So I learned under him, but I learned, how will I say it? Not the rudiments, just how to put the ball back in play. And I was always watching TV, trying to copy what I see on TV, bring it to the courts. Most times it will work, it will get there, but there was a little bit of disconnect between what you see on TV and what you can try. But lo and behold, I kept at it, and I started joining or participating in tournaments. These are Nigerian tournaments, local tournaments, just to like feel, have fun, no matter whether you lose, just enter and just feel the energy of being in tournaments. So later on, I started going for tennis camps in the US to really learn the basics. I did that for like 8 straight years. I used to go to Florida a lot to go to all the schools that all the pros go to so that you learn the correct techniques and mindset about playing tennis. Then after that, I entered the first international tournament was in Nigeria. It was in Lagos Lawn. It's called a Futures tournament. So that was my first Futures tournament. Entered. I paid the entry fees. I won my first round and I lost in the second round. But it was all just for the experience.
Yes.
So I'm always so proud. When I put my name and I Google Bimbo Okubena or ITF, I will still see my results there. That they're still there up till today. Played years ago.
Gosh,
so and I've played ITF seniors also. I've played ITF seniors in Spain. I've played ITF seniors in the UK. And just recently, in the past 2 years, because I was stuck in the US during COVID, I entered the USTA League. So I represented my county in Maryland. I represented my state in the regionals. And now took my team to national USTA championship. Wow. But I will give you all the details about that much later. So I've played everywhere. I played in Nigeria, I played in Ghana, I played South Africa, I played Spain, everywhere that you can always play tennis.
This is really, really interesting. I'm really happy that you took time to talk to us today. One can't buy that experience, so we're really privileged once again. With all our viewers, of course, we know that like I said, we are privileged to have such a player that have a vast experience in the world of tennis. So once again, we are privileged to have you. So now, the Novak Djokovic saga. What's your thought on it? Was he fairly treated?
It's a very contentious scenario right now based on was he treated well, was he not treated well? On the balance of things, I think maybe from my own perspective, in my own opinion, I think his team or his PR people didn't school him well as to what to do and what he could not do. His opinion or his attitude about not getting vaccinated is definitely correct. It's your choice. You can either want to or not want to.
Yeah.
But then again, you now need to balance it out with what is acceptable by people that are doing tournament. If it was his own tournament, he could do whatever he wants. But this is a tournament that you will register the rules that you would adhere to. And once those rules are going to be broken by you based on your opinion or your idea of what their rules are, you were supposed to have just stayed away. It was too easy. But he's been adamant going there, and I think he just ridiculed himself as setting back a lot into how people perceive who he is.
Okay.
It might not be him. It might just probably be the team around him coercing him or pushing him to do this and say this. But then again, there are consequences to whatever you do in the world, and he's probably facing the consequence right now.
Well, that's a very good one. It's a loaded answer that you've just given us now. And it's true. Then this question have been trending on the social media, but especially from the tennis followers. That what's your thoughts on Rafael Nadal winning the Grand Slam? Do you think if Novak was featured in the tournament, do you think he will have won?
I'll give you my scenario. One, before even Djokovic was ejected, I was half praying that they will allow him to play, but I told a lot of my friends that the crowd were the ones who was going to break him in that tournament, even if he had played. If you notice the way or what happened to Medvedev during the finals, the fans were the one who got to him. And it plays a big part in tennis. There is no Grand Slam that anyone watches, I've been to one or two, and you play with the crowd. It's like in football too, when they say, oh, you're playing at home and the home crowd boosts the team. It's the same way in tennis. If the crowd switches around you and the mental capacity to handle what you're doing based on them shouting and because you will listen, you will hear them. You, as much as hear people tell you you're stupid while playing, and it will get into your head. So let's say he was allowed to play. I was betting with my friends that he will not make the second week, that they will have killed his morale while playing. So that was my opinion. So getting to the finals and winning this Grand Slam based on what he did to enter the tournament, I don't think he could have survived. But then again, it's just my opinion. Could he have gotten there? Could he have won? Nobody knows. Truth be told, I didn't put money. I'm a great Nadal fan. I didn't put my money on Nadal getting to winning this tournament. Even on the day of the finals, 2 sets down, I told somebody that, you know what, Medvedev is hungry and he wants more Grand Slam like the others, and he will do whatever to break their will. 2 sets down, 3 break points down in the third set. I got up and went to take a shower. That, you know what? It's almost over. Came back and I saw that I had broken. Man, it was the most unbelievable match in the world. But then, would Djokovic have won? Who knows? He might. Could he have lost? He could have. So that's just the world of sports. You can, you might not. That's just it.
Okay, that's really interesting. Now, can you please talk us through the Nadal comeback? Because we kept, for those of us that for new people that are just coming on or they'll be watching this video later on, what do they mean by Nadal's comeback and the victory? What injury did he recover from before he won this Grand Slam?
He had a foot injury.
Okay.
That he had to do surgery on.
Okay.
After Wimbledon, the next match he played was at the was at the Washington City Open, and I was privileged to watch him play live. That was a match I went to watch him. He played the first round. I watched him practice. But in the second round, he lost. And I could see that his movement was impaired. So I think that was when he now was supposed to go to Canada to go play the next Masters, and he pulled out saying he had foot injury. So he had surgery. Okay. So at that age, 35, having surgery, it's very hard. But nowadays, science is very good. Medical sciences put you back very quickly. One person that you will be shocked to know that is on the comeback is Andy Murray. In tennis before, once you have hip surgery or hip replacement or hip injuries, your tennis career is done. Completely done. Murray has defied and broken that jinx. Being somebody that had hip replacement surgery, back on the tour, winning matches, even winning a tournament is unbelievable. But then again, the will to win is in all these. They were called the top four before Murray had a very bad injury. Their mentality to win is unbelievable. It doesn't come all the time. I always say that in tennis, the generation is always like after 10, 15 years, the set of boys that will come up will be a different set of boys. I used to start from the Sampras, Agassi era, and their mentality to win back then was unimaginable. Can you imagine this set of human beings now? So what we should be looking forward to within the next 10, 15 years might definitely blow our mind again.
Okay, wow, that's good. So can you explain why Nadal is still not number one despite the fact that he won the 21st Grand Slam? For people, like I said, for our viewers that don't understand, because knowing fully well that, okay, this person just won, so why is he not number one? So how does the ranking, how does it work?
So there's something in tennis called ranking points.
Okay.
Every tournament you play has got points that you acquire for you to now be on a particular table. So it starts with the 4 major slams. That's the Australian Open, the French Open, the Wimbledon, and the US Open. All those 4 major tournaments carry 2,000 points.
Oh, 2,000.
Then it's now 2,000 points. Then it's now followed by the Masters. Okay. There are 10 Masters in a year. Each Masters carry 1,000 points.
Okay.
Then after the Masters, the third tier will now be what you call the ATP 500.
Okay.
ATP 500s will always garner you 500 points when you get to the finals or when you win the tournament. Okay. Then it's now broken. After the ATP 500, you now have the ATP 250. Okay. So all these tournaments have points attached to them. All the professionals between the ranking of 1 and 500 have the opportunities to always play the tournaments and amass points as much as possible. And you're always carrying it year over year. So at the beginning of the year, based on last year's points that were played by all the players, Djokovic was seeded number 1 because he had over 11,000 points. And because he won the Australian Open last year. But this year, starting at January, because he didn't play the Australian Open at all, he will lose 2,000 points because he got to the finals last year. Nadal didn't get too far in last year's tournaments, but this year he won. So they will do the difference of where he got to last year and where he got to this year. Okay. At the end of last year, Nadal was seeded 6 or 7 in the world. But because of the little points that's added to it, Nadal has moved up to number 6 now. Okay. So that's how the ranking points. So you play tournaments worldwide just to get points so that you can start moving up on the ladder to as high as possible.
Okay, all right. Thanks for clearing that, because I've just been wondering. I said, this person just won this Grand Slam, and somebody's not playing. So how come he can't be number 1? That's why he played number 2. You know,
Yeah.
it's thank you for clearing
So
that. So I'm
it's about
sure
ranking
that
points. Yeah.
okay, I'm sure that our viewers will understand this better now that it's been cleared. Yeah, in your opinion, do you think Novak's treatment was political motivated? Because during the course of my research, I found out that Australian elections just around the corner, and the government wants to be seen taking these decisive actions or measures. So, do you think it was politically motivated?
Using the word political motivated is just a narrative as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
If you know Australia very well, if you see the way the country runs or they were running during the pandemic, I think there were another country that was as anal as Australia was New Zealand. Even people that were born and they carry an Australian passport, the way they will deal with you at the airports is they have what you call zero tolerance. So not to come and talk of a foreigner coming into their country now using his how will I say it his popularity to now want to overturn things that are it's almost like you're fighting a country. It is
Mm-hmm.
next to impossible to win. So people using the word politically correct, no. If Australia was, how will I say it, a military country or a dictatorship, they will do whatever they're going to do based on the way the country is ruled.
Mm-hmm.
Be it Saudi Arabia, where it is a monarchy, if they will treat so using the word political is because there are politicians running the country. It's just a narrative. There is nothing political motivated about it. It was just dealt with the way the country would deal with anybody else. And that was what they did. They were not going to drop their standards for anybody, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're a superstar. That was even what made it worse. The fact that you think you're much more than everybody else was why they did what they did. So there are just no double standards. It was just unlucky.
This one is just on the side. I think I should have gotten a Novak fan because of course you just confirmed that a die-hard Nadal fan. So maybe I should have just you know, but
Truth be told, I might not be a Novak fan, but the guy plays extreme tennis. I learn regularly. I've got videos of Novak just to like learn what he does because it's not just about I like this, I like that. You can learn from everybody. The four of them, who I think they're the greats: Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Andy Murray. They all play different strategies or different games. Not one of them plays like each other. So if they could all have won Grand Slams, that means you could learn from each and every one of them what they do to be a great player. So I don't I don't I don't berate him, but he's a great player. You cannot take it away from him. What he has done in tennis is unsurmountable. So whether I'm a fan or not, he's a great champion.
okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for balancing your opinion now. Thank you for doing that. So do mention some of the calls because sometimes I just hear the umpires something love 40, some of the rules. Can you please just they just shout, you just hear it, when you're watching, but there's people out there that don't really understand. So can you just explain some of the rules that are being, what does it mean, what we, for those of us that don't really know much about it.
So for you to score points in tennis, you start with your serve.
Say it, okay.
So the way it is, the way points are assigned start. It was it's an historic thing of how points are given. Because if you look at when they say 15 love, it just means you got 1 point. But 15 love was how it was ascribed. And historically, if you look at the face of the clock, there is 0, there is 15, there is 30, and there is 40. Sorry, 45. But for some reason, they used 40. I've not dug deep to why it was 40 and not 45. But the face of the clock was what was used back then to say 0 to 15, 1 point, 15 to 30, second point, 30 to 40 or 45, third point, then back to 0 was you have 1 point. So the face of the clock was used then. So when they mention 15 love, it means 1 point. If you go to some states in the US where they use USTA rules, or when they're playing what you call WTT, they won't even mention 15 love. They'll say 1-0, which is almost the same. So it's just a methodology that was used back then, and the tradition is still being carried on till now. So when you hear things like love, it means 0-0. Or in football, they say nil-nil. It's still the same as 0-0.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. You are clearing lots of things for us. Thank you for that. Yeah. What has been your being a player, being a tennis player? What has been the moment, your best moment on tennis courts? What's your moment?
Winning my first tournament in the final.
Oh gosh, that's
that was in country club when I was still a rookie and a young player.
Oh, good. That's really good. Obviously, I'll still ask this question. I know the obvious answer anyway. So, if you could play against any player in the history, who will it be?
Andre Agassi.
Really? I thought you were gonna say Nadal.
That was my.
Wow.
No, that was my first ever. How will I say it? That was who made tennis to me. I was in awe just watching him play, and I learned and mimicked everything he did. Even because of him, when I started tennis, I used to be a single-handed backhand. I used to play backhand with one hand. But when I started watching him, I switched completely. So I now use double fist just to be like Agassi. So he's one person I follow. If I was to play anybody today, he's the one that I'll pick to play with or play against or play on the other side of the net roots.
Wow. I was thinking you're gonna say Nadal. And wow,
Nadal.
That's one of the greats. Yes. So if you of course for our viewers, Bimbo is based in Nigeria. So I'm gonna ask you about Nigerian tennis. So in Nigerian tennis, is tennis basically for the upper class?
That's a very I won't say difficult, but contentious question. Upper class. What does upper class mean? Tennis is expensive. Let's just say it that way.
Okay.
The equipment to play. If you're looking to be a professional, to get to that level, maybe you're playing in top 100. The average cost to bring a player from when you're like 6 or 7 years old to where you start playing professionally and earning points and earning money will cost or set you back nothing less than $5 million.
Wow.
Nothing less than $5 million.
Wow.
And that's just starting from your training, your equipment, and the key part of it that's very costly, it's your travel and your hotels, because you need to go around the entire world grabbing points for you to rise to that level where you'll be top 100. And nobody's going to give you free tickets in the world. Nobody's going to pay for your training sessions. Then another one will be medical, toning, eating. So it's a very expensive sport to even get to the very top. Compared to football, where when it's a team sport, you play very well, you get a scout that sees you, scout tells you to come, you play one team, they like you, boom, they sign up a contract and you become a superstar. Just like this Victor Osimhen that plays for Nigeria.
Yeah.
5 years ago, Victor Osimhen they said he was selling pure water in Oshodi. 5 years ago, Victor Osimhen is the highest paid African footballer playing for Napoli right now. In tennis, it can never happen. Even if the best player in Nigeria right now, who will probably beat me 6-love, cannot even play the top 200 in the world. So the gap between being a superstar in tennis and how you get there is quite expensive and very daunting to get to.
Wow, I'm trying to digest what you just said now, because it simply means it's expensive, like you said. I don't want to say it's for the upper class. It's expensive, and for everything you've said now, to get to to shoot up, to get up the ladder, like you said, first 100, that it takes a lot. So you've already answered the next question, because I was going to say, is the tennis gear affordable? But of course you've answered the question in the previous question that I asked you. So as a tennis player in Nigeria, are there corporate organizations that are living up to their social responsibilities? Just like what you said now, if let's say there's someone that is interested as a corporate body, I think it's just what, maybe because I live in England, it's what they do here, that you just see corporate organization coming in, sponsoring. Is something like that? Do we have something like that happening in Nigeria?
Yes, definitely. There are several. Okay, so I was opportune to be the chairman of Ikoyi Club Tennis until about, no, it was from 2018 to 2020. So for 2 years, I was the chairman of Ikoyi Tennis. And in that space of 2 years, we had several corporate sponsors who came in and sponsored tennis. I won't want to mention names, but we actually did junior tennis programs where a major blue chip company put down funds to make sure that all secondary school tournaments started again. And it was well executed, and it's still something that we're going to build on, whereby we can have national students playing.
Yes.
I'm a proponent in Nigeria for junior tennis. The reason why is, if you don't start from that age, from that ripe old age of 6 to 7, where you now build a program and a plan around, you can never get a top 200 in the world. It's a 10-year program. You cannot jump it. So even if we start to build the kids from, primary school, high school, and they start playing tournaments, we can start to now see the potentials. People that have got ideas, that have got the requisite skills, or they see and they can copy quickly, can now build on top of that and now grow with maybe corporate sponsors. But then, like I always told the Nigerian Tennis Federation, chair people that I've always met, that we need to market tennis to the corporate bodies. It's not just going cap in hand and saying, oh, come on, sponsor. No, there must be value that you want to share with them, and they will equally give their own values back in terms of the sponsorship. It must be a symbiotic relationship whereby they give and they get back. Not the fact that we go cap in hand. Oh, the way we think is, oh, give us money, we want to do tournament. No, you must really package and market the value around taking a child from a young age to the concept of having them become champions in the world. So once you sell that value proposition, easily you can get corporate sponsors that will take up the mantle to like sponsor tournaments on a regular basis, because the more tournaments you have, the better they are, the opportunity for them to travel, and that's just how it goes.
To just corroborate what you just said now, because I remember I was watching a video. Was it Nadal that was saying that Murray, Andy Murray, that was saying, I've always known Novak when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
So that means they started quite young,
very early. So age for tennis to start is probably like 5 years old.
Gosh.
I started my son playing tennis at the age of 4.
Wow.
But due to the fact that he had to go to, how will I say it, boarding school, it became very difficult. I even tried as much as possible to get his school to have a tennis court. They had a tennis court, to get a coach. It was difficult. It was quite, the barriers were just very high. But let's imagine that I could have gotten him to get interested in tennis at 4 or 5. I had the finance to like take him abroad to play tournaments. Oh, he definitely probably will be playing tennis right now. There's a gentleman that I met I saw him in the US. His name is Michael Moore. If you Google his name, you'll see him as a US player. His dad used to be one of the top Nigerian tennis players in Nigeria. He's I'll try and remember his first name. So his son was born in Saudi Arabia, but lived in the US. And his son plays on the ATP tour. I actually watched him play at the Washington City Open. He's about 18. So it was because his dad was a world-class player. Dad lives in the US, was a coach. He went through the gamuts of, and the opportunities to play many tournaments in the US. So he plays professional now, much easier because of the climate where he is. In Nigeria, we don't have the tournaments to like push you up that far. So you need to travel. That is why I tell you about the expense of getting you to that level that you want. It's too how many companies want to give you or put down. Let me show you one. You know this guy called Kei Nishikori, the Japanese player?
Yeah.
Kei Nishikori was, when he was 10 years old in Japan, Sony, the Sony company, paid excess of $10 million to have 2 of them come to Nick Bollettieri in Miami at the age of 10. Kei couldn't speak one word of English, and they left him at the tennis academy. So in the tennis academy, he will go to school, learn English, do his work, but 70% of it was being in the academy to learn tennis. Kei Nishikori got as high as number 5 in the world. He's set for life in terms of endorsement, in terms of, winnings that he's done. But you can see what Sony had to put down. And it's quite, how will I say, daunting for a company to believe in a 10-year-old boy and put that amount or commitment to put even $5 million down for a 10-year program. So you now see where it is, because you could actually put the money down and the child gets into the age of 13 decides, I don't feel like playing this game anymore. So what do? You can't lock the child up. It's just a decision that he wants to do.
No, you can't.
So those are the challenges of trying to get kids interested and getting them to that level that they want to get to.
Wow, thanks for that. And where do you think the government of the day what role do you think the government they can play to develop sports amongst the youth?
Well, The government is doing as much as it can do right now. And what I think that should probably be looked into again is that partnership that they always call private and public partnership, where the body as Nigerian Tennis Federation will now sit down with corporate bodies or companies or blue chip companies and devise a plan and not just wait and say that, oh, the government, no government does anything for anybody. It's always that partnership between corporate and individuals that always take players there. So it's already in play in some particular sports in Nigeria, and we just hope and pray that it extends to all other sports. But then again, I feel the energy to put all the sports within the secondary schools is what I think should start first. Once the sports are in schools, there used to be secondary school sports before, but nowadays they all just put a lot of energy in, football, maybe because of us being able to watch the EPL, watch this league, watch that league. Thank God we can now watch at least, tennis on TV regularly. But you can imagine other sports that we don't see so much about.
Yeah.
But at the school level, which is almost like the way they do in school sports in the US is big time money.
Yes.
It's huge. The amount of money invested in school sports, which now transitions into professional sports, is massive. So we can do it. We can do it here too. At least give the interest to the kids to play. Don't build around the fact that they need to win anything, but they need to give their energies to look forward to playing international, or that can be done.
Wow. Thanks for that. Then, of course, you've answered this question that I'm going to ask you again, just for the benefit of those that may be joining us or maybe watching the video later on. What clubs or what club have you represented, and where have you played outside Nigeria, and where was that?
Well, I've played in too many. Like I said before, I could just put them in countries. I definitely started playing tennis in Nigeria. I've played in Ghana. What we used to do in Ikoyi Club back when I joined was every year we will pick an African country to go to play against a reputable club in that country. So we did that for well over 15 years. So we've been to Ghana, we went to South Africa, we went to Kenya, we went to Tanzania, we went to Morocco, we even went to the US from Ikoyi Club. And that has given you opportunity to meet all sorts of people. Then apart from that, on the club level, for myself, I've played in Spain, I've played international tournaments in Spain, in the UK. Then obviously just recently I played in the US. I played in maybe at least 8 or 9 states. I was opportunity to play the national finals, USTA finals in Arizona in October. We came fourth out of 350 teams in the US.
Fourth.
So fourth, yeah. So it was very, very competitive. I like the idea. It was something I've been thinking that we can bring back to Nigeria. Club sports, clubs play against each other. Just the camaraderie, the networking. Exactly. It builds a lot of important, connections worldwide. So that's where and how much tennis has taken me everywhere as much as possible.
Wow. It's very, I can see the look, the way you just came up when you started remembering all those the places that you've played before. So having said that, being a player and of course still a tennis player, so what competition would you say that you can remember that you had this painful loss, that was really painful? Which country was that, and which competition was that?
Painful loss was in Lagos Country Club. I played my friend. So this is how it was. I used to be in the club, in Lagos Country Club. Before he came, I used to be number 1. So this gentleman who's my very friend, his name is Undubusi, is an airline captain. Undubusi started tennis long before I started playing tennis. So when he joined, he became, Bimbo, I need to learn and find a way to, get to this guy who plays level of tennis. So the first tournament we played in the finals, he beat me very well. The second tournament, I had 2 match points. 2 match points. That means just 1 more point and I won the tournament. I lost both match points and he won. So he lived with me for a while because I could just have won that tournament and like, yay, but I lost it. So it got to me. The third tournament we played was when I now beat him, and I was the happiest man. That at least the head-to-head is not 3-0, it's 2-1, but he's a great guy. Very, very great guy.
I can imagine. I can imagine. You are still reliving that.
Oh no! You will, for tennis players, if you see great tennis players, go and ask them. They can tell you point by point the day they lost 15 years ago. You will see it clearly. I remember those match points. I was telling right now I can tell myself, should I have served a kick serve or a flat serve? Should I have done serve and volley? So you will relive it every day.
Okay. Oh, that is good. So it's been a very interesting conversation, that interview. That we really learned lots of things. Taking us through all those things. There's just one question that I still have to ask you before I let you go. What's your advice for the young aspiring youth that want to get into tennis? What advice do you have for me? How should they go about it?
Wow, it starts from interest. They must like it, and it should not be something that is forced on them. I've got 2 kids. I was always thinking that my daughter was going to love tennis like me because she was the first one, I introduced tennis. She played tennis till maybe the age of 8 and just got disinterested. But my son took it up and I didn't force him, but he loved it just like I love tennis too. So that's one thing for you to be able to see that they love it and not being forced to like it. Because then they can channel their energy to like want to get higher and better. So for kids like that, it's how will I say it? It's to nurture what they like and not force things on them. There will be some players that will like tennis, there will be some that will like football or for any sports. So I always encourage parents, I always encourage friends, try and see what interests your child and nurture it for them. So it does not matter what sports, even if it's chess,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see from an early age,
Mm-hmm.
help grow that interest. Put things that can make them want more. There are so many ways in this world to like interest a child into whatever activities or extracurricular things they like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my little advice.
Bimbo, thank you very much for sharing your experience with us. We've really been able to learn lots of things from everything you've told us and the way to go about it. We really appreciate your presence. And this man is a very busy man, but yet he made time for us to share his experience with us. We are really privileged to have him, and we say thank you once again. And for all our viewers and followers, if you've not subscribed, please follow our channel where we bring you the latest in the world of sports. And whenever we can, we'll bring you, people that have vast experience in different fields in the world of sports to come and share their experiences with us. And I would say from my end, my name is Jide once again. Please, we implore you to follow us. And till next time, we'll see you again. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you very much.